Welcome back to my channel. My name's Virginia and you're on the corner of the internet where we stop performing spirituality and start mastering the creation of reality. So let's get into it.
Ill fucking people that he invited into my life because I don't want to go online and have to explain myself or have to defend myself. But it's like at this point, I don't know what to do.
So this is going to be a controversial video because I think I'm about to annoy maybe 9 million people out there, because today I want to talk a little bit about the wizard Liz and the common ego traps that are present in manifestation circles and the spiritual community as a whole. And I say I want to talk a little bit about wizard Liz because this isn't a deep dive on her life or any gossip whatsoever. This is more about what we can learn from her experiences. And there's a couple of other big manifesting teachers out there that I've also seen get a little bit bitten in the, shall we say, by having wonky manifestations show up. Now, if you don't know about the wizard Liz or you haven't heard of her, she is a big creator on YouTube. I think nearly 9 million subscribers or over that. And she's been teaching about manifestation for quite some time, but publicly had a very wonky manifestation arise in the form of a relationship that went very sour. And then another manifestation teacher that I saw teaches a lot about self-worth, had surgery, and then it went very wrong. She shared this story on her platform. So have you ever had the experience of your manifestation going wonky? Maybe you wanted to manifest a relationship in your life, or a job change, or a new friendship, or your purpose work. And at first it felt all shiny and new and like you'd manifested the new timeline. And then suddenly he cheats on you or has a baby with somebody else, or they turn out to be, in my experience, a con artist. And you're like, hold on a minute. I learned about my power to consciously create reality. I raised my vibration. I did everything right. Like, why do I deserve this? Like, why is this happening in my life? And for a reason, Spirit has been bringing these things to the surface with people that have got massive followings online so that we can really learn these lessons. If you have an inkling that maybe you're falling into some ego traps in your manifestation journey, this is the video for you. So I want to again start off with a little disclaimer. You know, I don't know the ins and outs of her life, any of these other manifestation teachers, but I can see the clues. I can see the clues of what's going on. So we have this experience of you've leveled up. This is the ego trap number one, is using leveling up as healing, right? Maybe you had a traumatic past. Maybe you've gone through an experience of life where you've spent years in struggle, and then you learned about manifestation. You started following a few self-help gurus, and you're like, right, so let me look my best. Let me get to the top of my game. Let me use manifestation to get the numbers or the shiny car or the perfect relationship. If I look this certain way and if I achieve these certain things with manifestation, then I'm healed, right? I've overcome it. I'll show them, myself included. You feel like my heart got broken, or I've had this chapter of struggle and pain in my life, so let me just level up so much so that I prove reality wrong, I prove them wrong, I prove that ex wrong, I prove my past wrong about me. I'm good enough, I'm amazing, watch this space, look what I can do. But what often gets brushed over, it's not obvious in our society, because we glamorize success, we glamorize the numbers, we glamorize the fantastic body, the beauty, and it's not always those shiny outcomes are not always from a healed inner self. Oftentimes those shiny outcomes are coming from trauma that's unhealed, and it's an unworthiness wound that needs validation still. It just got a little bit more sneaky. So maybe you were staying small before, maybe you had a little bit of extra weight on you before, maybe you weren't always doing your makeup every day or putting on your best suit every day, and that was also the wound, right, in its other form. And so there is an ego trap, because you feel, oh, well, I've leveled up, so this is me, I'm healed and I'm bothered and everything's going well in my life, so let me just manifest more and more and more and more good things while I'm in this high vibration and everything seems to be going right. But there's going to be a lesson, because instead of looking internally at what created the problem in the first place, what created the pain, the chapter of pain, or the repeating relationship pattern dynamics, you just painted over it with success in some area, with leveling up, with getting the better partner with more money, getting the better body, getting the better nose, whatever it might be. Overall, that is still external, and just because we manifested it, it doesn't negate the egoic part of the manifestation. It doesn't make it spiritual. I mean, success can be spiritual. Your purpose work, achievement, beautiful, amazing, abundant things in your life can be spiritual. But we got to be so careful. And the reason I share this video and why it's so close to my heart is this is a lesson that I learned over 8 years ago now. And then I had a few more cycles of learning it again and again, because I couldn't get it. I just couldn't understand the lesson. So I hope I can save you some time. And I'll share a little bit about what happened to me. So I've been on my journey for a while, 18, I first started manifesting. I'd say like my 2025 was when I had a massive Kundalini awakening, big spiritual awakening. And it was after that I went to yoga teacher training, raised my vibration, did a lot of spiritual practices in a consistent time period, like meditation, yoga, raised my vibration at yoga teacher training, and started recognizing, manifestations are coming through. And then I also simultaneously at that time, I realized I don't want to work in London anymore long term. I was getting burnt out from that chapter. So I decided to go on a travel journey with one of my friends. And I decided, I've got some old YouTube videos, but I've deleted that channel now. Maybe I can still find them, where I did like a meditation manifestation 3-week challenge of raising my vibration and doing yoga, meditation, affirmations. And on that travel trip, I had leveled up hard. Like, my body was amazing. Let me put some pictures. I was looking so good, because just previous to that, I'd had my heart really broken and I hadn't been able to get over it for so many months. And, I was really in that weak mindset of just wanting that person back and always only thinking about that person. And then I kind of had this flip, this switch, like, hold on a minute. No, I'm going to show you. I'm going to be the best version of myself. So my body was banging. My hair looked great. I was shining on the outside. I was doing yoga every day. I was doing meditation. And then I set up myself to do this little challenge. So done yoga teacher training in Goa, gone home to London, and then decided, right, I'm gonna go on a travel experience and just raise my vibration and see what I can manifest, how I can positively change my life. I'm looking great, got my vibration high, I know my manifestation techniques. So I did it. I did that 3-week challenge in Bali, met some cool people in Bali. Then me and my friend, we had a little bit of a small, we're still friends now, but we had a little altercation. So I decided to go to India to travel alone. When I got to India, Rishikesh, I tell you now, this is when things got super weird. I was writing things in my diary. I was scripting at the time, or just writing out intentions, often in a list, and writing out my gratitude. I was doing my meditation, my yoga every day, and just following my joy, doing things I enjoyed. As soon as I got in Rishikesh, everything that I was writing down was manifesting the next day. But also, this is something that's happened in themes of my life. And if you've watched my celibacy video, you would have seen it. Like the girl in the red dress from The Matrix. This is what used to happen to me with guys. Like they'd bump into me, and then it would be like a cute meet, but it would go wonky. So I met one guy that I ended up following to Thailand a little later on in this story. I met this other Indian guy who turned out to be a con artist. I met another con artist in this Bollywood film. So I'd scripted that I wanted a retreat center. I was scripted that I wanted love. I'd scripted that I wanted to be in a Bollywood film because someone had randomly told me they were in a Bollywood film. There was loads of things happening, and it was just all manifesting the next day. So turns out this one Indian guy that I met on the road, he's like, hi, yeah, you teach yoga or something, I can't remember. We got chatting. He's like, I've got a retreat center. Just a couple of days after I'd written it in my journal, I went and lived there, as you do. At the time, I was been in a hostel, and then I'd got back from another little teacher training. I was like, oh, what am I going to do next? Like, fine, I'll move there. There was other people living there as well. He's like, yeah, just come and do yoga in my retreat center. You can help to run it. I was like, amazing. Like, all my manifestations are coming through. I'd also met this guy that I liked. Like, we were still messaging. He'd gone to Thailand. I was like, yeah, it's amazing. Everything's going so well. Got to that place, and it all, after a couple of weeks, the cracks started to show. And I'd gone with a little bit of money as a traveler. I'd gone with a small amount of money, so I couldn't get conned in that way. But it turns out later on, I found out things got fishy, and he'd been asking me for money, and he'd asked his other women for money, and I decided to leave like after things got a bit fishy. It turns out later, about a year later, I learned more about this man, and it turns out that he had SA'd a couple of other women that were travelers and stayed in that house. And so I got by the skin of my teeth. But can you see what an intense experience that was, to be high vibration and writing out all my affirmations and, you know, just doing all this scripting. I'm so high vibe right now, and I'm instantly manifesting a retreat center, and then it goes wonky. Instantly manifesting being a Bollywood film. He was also a creep, and he tried to assault me a little bit later on in the story. I won't tell the whole thing. And then that love interest, so I went to Thailand, and it turns out he was also not for me. And the mushroom showed me that. Maybe I'll do another one on plant medicines. But I learned from that experience, hold on a minute. I feel like I've got all the puzzle pieces in place. I've learned self-love, like look amazing and all of this, but then everything fell apart. And I came back from that travel journey a little bit like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And it wasn't until many years later, actually, because I then repeated that cycle in relationships a few times with manifesting specific people into my life, and then realizing, oh, hold on a minute, this person is not for me. And it's because underneath all of that shiny manifestation technique, underneath leveling up so fast, it feels like cheating. Underneath it, there was some unhealed shadow aspects of myself, to do with not growing up with my dad, to do with power dynamics. And until I did that deeper shadow work, all of my manifestations were coming in wonky. And not all shadow work is made the same, because there was parts of my journey where I tried shadow work and I thought I'd done the healing, and I hadn't, because it wasn't effective. It wasn't touching the mind, the body, and the soul. So I have included below my quantum Ho'oponopono process, absolutely free masterclass to do shadow work on the fear of not being enough. If you do feel like this is speaking to you, like you're getting wonky manifestations and you just can't make out why. And then also another kind of side quest on this topic is a lot of women, and also powerful spiritual women, are being targeted by energetic attachments. And oftentimes alongside shadow work, you need a cleansing of your energy, maybe by a shaman, or you can do it even on yourself when you're in your authority or power, or see a coach that can help you, a spiritual coach, because oftentimes it can be a little bit darker than just needing to do the shadow work as well. So the second thing that I want to share with you, an important lesson, important ego trap that I think people often get stuck in, especially when you get a little bit of that energy of like, oh, I manifested, oh, I learned something new. And it's teaching something too soon, teaching your knowledge too soon. And this is, again, something that is very much prevalent in our community right now. I mean, I've been on this journey a long time, but I still know that I don't know everything. But we get this excitement, and I did have this when I have an old video where I got to that retreat center and in India, and I'd made a video like, oh yeah, I've manifested this whole retreat center, but luckily I didn't actually post it because I was really bad at actually doing the edits of videos. So that was one time that my procrastination paid off, and I look back at that video, I found it in my Google Photos, and I'm like, yeah, I just manifested, like, and just not knowing me, like super not knowing what was about to happen, and I'm bragging about it and teaching other people how to manifest, right? But the happiness level right now is really, really high, and the projects that I've been holding in my heart, I've met people that have the same things in their heart. They have resources available and they want to share that with me because I have some energy to give. I have thoughts and ideas of my own. I have things that I've been working on for a long time, just little hobbies and projects that are now helpful to this business. So it feels amazing, and this is down to me taking the time to write out my affirmations, come to my meditation every single This is the ego trap number 2 that lots of us fall into. Is like we think we know it all just because we got a little win. And this is something also I've had to relearn in my business as well. I'd been running my business for a year and I was like, yeah, I know all the answers. Like I'm so good at sales. Like I know everything about business. And then you get into year 3 and you're like, oh, I knew nothing. So I think this is something, especially when we're manifesting. Yes, we do need to share spiritual knowledge with each other. It's good to share your journey. But when we do share our journey, we have to stay vulnerable and we have to recognize, we always have to do these disclaimers. Like, this is what I've learned so far. And this is how I've learned it. This is what I learned it from, not just, you must do this and you must act like this to get this. And this is exactly how you must manifest, because this is the sort of stuff that will kick you in the teeth a few years later, because wisdom takes time. It's not shiny and it's not fast like modern society would tell you, that you can just instantaneously be the spiritual guru on the mountain when you haven't put the groundwork in. And this is also why I think a lot of the creators, and maybe it was me as well, like spirit uses you as a lesson to say, hey, let's humble down your ego a little bit, right? Humble yourself. We've always got to be humbling ourselves at every single step of the journey, because if we don't do it, external reality will do it for you. The other part of this is using manifestation as a control mechanism. And this is something that is so close to my heart, because it's so beautiful, right? It's such a fine line to not cross. Is we learn about manifestation, and a huge part of our awakening to our true identity and our sovereignty is recognizing that we have an element of control over reality with our thoughts, our energy, our vibration. But what I think is super important when you're on your manifestation journey is to recognize, is to acknowledge. You don't have to be religious to acknowledge that there is a higher power. There is a stream of love consciousness that has all of the information, whereas when you're in this separated consciousness, in this physical construct of the human body, you don't have all of the answers. And so we have to recognize that a lot of our experiences, if we let go to surrender and stop controlling the outcome so much, oftentimes we would be surrendering away from the person that wasn't meant for us. There's so many times I've manifested someone back into my life and then got that harsh lesson, entities in my life for far too long, right? I've got the harsh lessons because I was trying to control so much with my manifestation practice. I couldn't surrender to the higher consciousness aspect of myself that already knows that person is not for you, and that, Virginia, you just need to do some shadow work, babe. Right? Stop obsessing over that manifestation, because it really wouldn't be that important to you if you had some deeper self-worth. Now, ego trap number 4 is something so sneaky, and I've only just learnt this in my own being, because I've been downloading recently. Spirit has been sharing with me recently that it's important for me to slow down. It's important for me to not do so much work and to allow regulation of my nervous system, more rest in my life, to actually allow the flow of abundance more into my life. But a lot of why I would overwork and do so much is because I felt this obligation to my purpose work because of all of the trauma that I'd been through. Not only those cycles of manifestations going wonky, but also some deeper spiritual truths that have come out in my path about energetic attachments that had to get removed. Angel guides that I'm connected to in spirit, like all of that trauma, all of that pain, and then having some answers put on my path, like, hey, you have been targeted, and hey, you've got a mission and a purpose here. This is why. Made me kind of obliged to my purpose. I must complete this work. Like, I'm here and only me, like, to defeat the dark lords of the universe, right? The hero's journey. And I think this is taught often in all of our books, our movies, and this is what we're living as a human being in a physical world, is that we're the hero of the journey, right? And if we don't make that trauma mean something, then it's been wasted. But oftentimes, all of that chapter of struggle that you've been through, all of the hard experiences, all of the relationship dynamics that didn't make sense, all of the things that you've had to let go of, the harsh lessons that you've learned, is not because you have to make an equal amount of good in this world equal to that trauma, right? You don't have to get the million followers. You don't have to have the best body. You don't have to have the most richest husband to make that trauma mean something. That would be like the hero's journey, right? Like, oh, I've got all this shiny purpose work that I completed because my trauma was so much. Like, I have to alchemize every last bit of it, and it's so important what we're doing here on this planet, that sort of thing. But I just realized more recently in that slowing down, but like, what about my purpose? Like, oh no, like I'm not achieving it. Like all that stuff that I've been through, it means nothing. But no, oftentimes the culmination or the most beautiful outpouring that you can have from that amount of trauma or pain or struggle in your life is a quiet, happy, peaceful life. And what comes often with needing your trauma to mean something massive and big is the payoff, or the deeper lesson is the ego just slaps you in the face again because you've expanded so much that there's a new lesson. And it doesn't mean that you can't achieve big things. I'm not saying that. But oftentimes there's this little whisper. It's like, oh, I'm just cookie cuttering my life into this hero's journey because this is the template that we're fed from society. When maybe the biggest revolution that you could have, the biggest alchemy for the trauma that you've been through, or the pain or the struggle, is to live a happy, quiet life. And that would maybe be the antidote to, or the insurance that your spiritual ego is not going to get in the way again, and maybe give you a wonky manifestation just to teach you a new lesson, right? And the final ego trap, number 5, that comes along with manifestation, especially like manifesting relationship dynamics, or even like purpose work or money, is not recognizing the power games at play, even when you're the good guy, or you're the victim in the relationship, or you're the empath in the relationship, right? Or you're doing your purpose work and getting all of this money to do good in the world. But underneath that is a power game at play. And it's ultimately what you receive, like the validation that you receive from being the victim, the validation you receive from being the one that makes all the money for the collective good. There's something very sneaky there that a lot of us trip up on. And it's that I am enough, I mean something. Or sometimes when we're in the empathic dynamic or the victim dynamic, we're also feeding off of the dynamic. It's not just the narcissistic entity. It's not just the powerful entity feeding off of you. You're also receiving a form of validation when you are the victim or the empath. And it's very, very sneaky, because so often what you're wanting to be is the savior of that person. And being the savior means that you're worthy and you are a good person. And this is also actually just another shadow aspect. It's the ego being sneaky again. And so as you can see, what I've shared in this video is like, it's so deep, and it's kind of like this never ending lesson. Oftentimes we are going to get a wonky manifestation, and we have to just ride the wave of it and say, yeah, okay, I'm still here, I'm still learning. But what can happen if we don't own it, if we don't own the wonky manifestation and say, what is this teaching me about myself? Then we'll just carry on this cycle of wonky manifestations. We'll carry on this cycle of the ego slapping us in the face and giving us a harsh lesson, when we could nip it in the bud. We could make our experience of life much more peaceful if in that moment of the wonky manifestation we had the courage to say, what is this teaching me about myself? Where is it in my energetic field that in India I attracted a con artist, right? What is it in my energetic field that in relationships I'm always attracting the narcissist, or I'm always in this obsessive relationship with manifestation to get a specific person? What is it within myself that I need to transmute? And this is going to, I can't guarantee that there won't ever be another wonky manifestation in your life, but what I can guarantee is you'll find a lot more peace. And this is the ultimate manifestation, the ultimate path and key to freedom, is peace of mind despite the external reality maybe not showing you your dream life or the big manifestation or the perfect partner, but you have a peace of mind and a sense of identity so strong that you don't need that external manifestation to prove to you your worth. All right, beautiful soul. I hope this video helped you. Let me know your comments below. I'd love to hear your views on this topic, and I will see you on the next one. Namaste.